Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest celebrity news. There actually is some stuff going on, good, bad, and different. Reality TV, which is going to be 90 Day Fiance, the brand new season 11. And of course, today's Jeff Lewis Live. And my very exciting phone call. Did you hear, y'all? I can't even tell you what a connection I feel to Susan Powter. I don't know if it's just her ballsy, tell it like it is, don't make excuses, don't give a damn. She kind of reminds me of my mom. I mean, there's something about it. When I was laying in my bed and a phone number came up, and not many people call anymore, right? And it said Susan Powter. I was like, OMG. Wow. She is everything she was on Jeff Lewis Live. I must admit, I absolutely knew of her from the 90s, but I was also, in college. I mean, I wasn't exactly her target audience, probably, back in the day. But of course, I remember the whole Stop the Insanity. Of course, I saw all the infomercials and everything. So it was very interesting to hear her on Jeff Lewis. But anyways, she contacted me because I reached out to her email and said, I would love for you to come on my podcast. I would love to know more. Well, she saw a comment that I made somewhere saying that I was going to do a book club with my 3 college daughters. And she was actually so impressed by that. She said, this is everything I ever wanted. She goes, I just always wanted to tell my story and get back to the basics of just like grassroots. I mean, I cannot wait. So 2 of my daughters, because I can track it on Amazon, 2 of my daughters have already gotten their books delivered today. Mine and another daughter's is out for delivery, so I should have mine very soon. I think she says it's like 163 pages, so it seems like very doable for us chumps, okay? I do love books. I do love memoirs. I love autobiographies. I love nonfiction, true crime. So the book is right up my alley, but I can tell you, and I told her this on the phone, I was just so impressed with her just not making excuses for anything. Like, I still need to read the book to fill in the gaps on where all this money happened and what happened. She ended up raising 3 adult children. So I just can't wait to read it. But she also was like, wait a minute, if you're doing a book club, I wrote the book. Shouldn't I be in your book club? And I'm like, well, hot damn, yes, you should. I was like, okie dokie. So I am so excited. Good question. Hannah said, what's the last book I read? I do not know the last book I read, but I'll tell you books that I have read in the last year and a half or so is Dorinda Medley's autobiography, which was actually really good. I promoted at the time. And Margaret Joseph's autobiography. Again, really good reads. So like I said, I've always loved autobiographies, true crime, nonfiction. So yeah. Well, yeah. Southern Belle Cells. Susan really promoted fat-free everything in the 90s, which we now know is awful. But she also promoted whole food eating and fitness and weight training, which we obviously now know is fantastic, right? So anyways, haven't figured out exactly when it'll be or when she'll be in my podcast, but you'll be happy to know she does have a very trusted PR person that is alongside of her in this journey. She said the chumps really came out after Jeff Lewis Live in support of buying her book, in support of promoting her. So I think people are reaching out to her to be on their podcast. Maybe she'll have her own podcast. As I said the other day, she deserved to have. So big things are ahead for her. And of course, she mentioned something about the Jamie Lee Curtis in did she say documentary or biopic? Some sort of movie is coming about her life. And you know how I love myself a documentary. So thank you so much. Thank you, Hamilton. She says, I'm so happy for you. I'm going to order her book through your Amazon link so you get the credit. Yeah, so anything that I add to my Amazon credit, I do to my Amazon list of favorites, I do get a little bit of a commission from it, but that doesn't take anything away from the people selling. So it has nothing to do with affecting her, Susan Powter's deserved profit for self publishing this book, which I'm so proud of her. Anyways, okay. Sad news, odd news, interesting news, confusing news. Gene Hackman who's 95, and his 63-year-old wife, and at least one of their dogs, I think only one, were found dead in their home. Now news is coming out very quickly that, may not have been today. It could have been the wife could have been there a little bit longer. Now there's pills thrown around. There's no sign of any issue with carbon monoxide, which is, of course, where all of our brains went when we heard this. So I have no idea what's going on. The call has been released from whoever it was that found them. I don't know. It's very disturbing. So I guess this will keep unfolding as it comes out. Another story that keeps unfolding is what we talked about yesterday, the Mattel. Y'all, the burps are real. Luckily they're not really gross for me, but the little burpees after you eat a meal or a snack after the weight loss injection shots, is real. Michelle Trachtenberg, who passed away suddenly, and now we know they're saying her mom found. So it's like they're saying to give her privacy, yet all this information keeps coming out. I'm like, then don't release any information, because somebody in their circle is getting information out, because now we know her mom checked on her the night before, which means, did she live with her mom? Did her mom live with her? Like, she's 39 years old. We now know that she went out with her friends a couple days before, but she was not good, didn't look good, maybe wasn't feeling great. She had somewhat recently had a liver transplant, and they don't know, but now the family is refusing to do an autopsy. So I don't know if they're required to do an autopsy or what, but sounds like they just don't want to know what happened. I'm not really sure there, but only 39 years old. Do we even know why she needed a liver transplant at such a young age? I don't know. So that keeps unfolding if it's not over already, but I just think it's interesting that information keeps coming out. Yeah, K Kitty says partly decomposed, partly mummified, because I guess where they live, it's very cold right now, and the maintenance people found them with their dog. Oh, yeah, so very, very sad. Pills, yeah, K Kitty says pills were thrown all over the place next to their bodies in the bathroom. So we don't know. I mean, there was a 32-year age difference, but they'd been married like 34 years. So, somebody said she had an alcohol problem at 63. So she had a battle with alcohol abuse, the way I see it said. So very sad. 95 years old. You hate to hear of somebody dying so that way at 90. They lived 95 years and then they're going to die with such a, it's definitely Gene's wife of a very long time, like 30 something years. Okay. Confusing news. And coincidentally, she will be on Jeff Lewis Live tomorrow. Have you been following this? Okay. Y'all know I love me some Dr. Phil. I always have. So I literally remember watching live that Dr. Phil episode forever ago when this little beboppity little biatch 15 or 13-year-old girl was on there bitching and moaning about her mama. And she was like, catch me outside. Like, fighting with the audience, basically, right? Like, giving them an attitude, what have you. Well, she has morphed herself into a rap star, pop star, whatever she is. She's now known as Bad Baby or something. I don't know, Danielle, whatever it is. She also has a baby. She also alluded to, or maybe said, that her husband, baby daddy, fiance, boyfriend, whatever, has physically abused her. She's also said that she is fighting cancer. I mean, there's just a lot going on. I have no idea what comes out of her mouth, but she is doing well financially. That may be the only way she's doing well. But there's been some online TikTok feud with Alabama Barker, who is Travis Barker and Shana Moakler's adult child. Like, maybe she's like 19, 20-ish years old. So there's been some feud with that, with Catch Me Outside, the husband, boyfriend, fiance, whatever that dude's name is. Probably some cheating going on, and both the girls are fighting over this dumbass dude that's not doing either one of them right. But now Shana Moakler, I just saw a video, not from her, but somebody videoing it. So maybe it was a TikTok live. I don't know. The most thickest, like New York, Boston, something accent. I don't even know what the accent was, but it is nothing. I literally was doing a double take going, wait, it didn't look like Shana Moakler to me for one thing. Anyways, but she was like, start telling your daughter to quit wanting to fight my daughter because my daughter doesn't fight, but I do. I mean, it was really icky. And I was like, wait, this is Shana Moakler who has been on Jeff Lewis maybe 5 or 6, 7 times. I've never heard her with that accent. And it was a thick ass accent. I need to find it, repost it to my Instagram if I can for y'all. So I go to the comments to even see if it was her. And yeah, and somebody was like, where is this accent coming from? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad somebody else is saying, this is not Shana Moakler's accent. Like, what are you doing? From March 24th? No, Southern Belle says, did I see the video from March 24th? Oh, last year? Yes, last year, the videos of with him in a cane and his wife coming or shopping or something. I mean, it's hard to recognize him, but he's also 95 years old. I mean, the wrinkles, the aging, you know what I mean? Anyways, so weird. Yeah, I mean, such a legendary actor. I don't really know a lot about him personally. But it's sad to see him pass away amongst such like drama, you know what I mean? So yeah, she'll be on there tomorrow because remember, she lives in Dallas. And I just saw a video. I don't follow her, but I follow Pole and Patrick, and she posted a video saying, hey, I live in Dallas and I'm on my way now to go do Pole and Patrick's have a coffee reading and do their podcast. And she sounded completely different. No, it's definitely not a lookalike. Oh, no, I don't think it was because I think I think it really was her. Definitely wasn't the daughter. It was definitely her. It's a voiceover. Oh, I just looked at the video. It's a voiceover. It's not her real voice or accent. So why would she put a fake voice? I don't know. People, AI. Who knows? Who knows? I remember some of it. Southern Belle says, did I watch Travis Barker and Shana Moakler's reality TV show back in the day? I sort of remember some of it, but not really. Anyways. Okay, I did finally remember to use my Peacock thing, membership, subscription, whatever, streaming, whatever it is, to watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show. Best 30 minutes of my life. It is so good. Like, why are they wasting their time putting this bullshit on Peacock? For one thing, people like me have Peacock and I don't even remember about the stupid apps. I don't even remember to go and watch this after show. Like, I need it to be on Bravo. I need it to be right after the show. It is so good. So, some takeaways. First of all, they're brutally honest. Way more than the confessional. It is way better than a confessional. Bose has these. When I tell you Bose has earrings on the size of 1.5 pomegranates, I kid you not. They're these big red, it's like a bird. It's like a big fat bird. They just hooked an earring and stuck them in her ear. It's so bizarre. Anyways, Bose is, of course, next to Dorit. Okay, so this is how it is on the stage. This is how it was with Vanderpump Rules. Don't forget that Vanderpump Rules did these after shows, and they were also very telling of who was friends, who was on whose side at the time. Garcelle, Sutton, and Jennifer Tilly are all together. Okay, so obviously Sutton and Garcelle have been really good friends, and then Jennifer Tilly and Sutton are friends. Who's all alone? Kyle. Kyle's all alone, still doing the pity thing about her husband and, oh, I just didn't know it was going to go this way. Well, I guess we finally do need to make some decisions and have a talk. Oh my gosh. So weird. Oh, Lori says, if you watch the show on Peacock, the after show immediately starts right after, which is brilliant but I recorded on Bravo. So having to watch a show on Bravo and then remembering to go over to Peacock is so annoying. Like, I get that they're trying to cross promote and blah, blah, blah. It's like Andy Cohen. Oh, don't forget to go and watch the after show live on Facebook. No, I'm not going to my Facebook and figuring it out. I just wait till y'all put it up on YouTube later. And then I follow it on YouTube. The Watch What Happens Live after show is so annoying. Yes, I think so too. They're so big. I mean, like Dorit had some big earrings on, but you talk about big. I mean, I kid you, they're not just big, they're thick, they're puffy. You know those decorations that you can buy at like the Dollar Tree that you like spread apart, nobody spends time doing it because they're so the little paper thin, you kind of put them near a light or a lamp or up on they're like those on her ears in red. I mean, it was awful. But this show is so good. I even watch it with commercials on it because I don't have the Peacock where I don't pay commercials. Anyway, so good. So honest, so raw. They just really, there's nobody with them. You can see that there's like a producer. They show the camera, so it's very fourth wall broken, which I'm so here for. What other shows do an after show besides Real Housewives of Beverly? And why aren't they all doing them? Like, I want a Southern Hospitality after show for darn sure. Anyways, speaking of, well, not really speaking of Southern Hospitality, although it is on tonight. Andy Cohen is in LA right now, as you heard on Jeff Lewis Live, because he ran into him last night at the bar. And he is filming the Traders reunion today. And then tomorrow he films Southern Hospitality reunion. No, Beverly Hills. He already did the Southern Hospitality reunion. So, I guess so. Oh, is that why? Oh, because she's in marketing. Sherry says, but it keeps everyone talking with her wearing those earrings. I think her style, which is very bright colors, very solid colors, very look at me. She definitely wants some attention from her fashion choices, right? Which is fine, I guess. You know what I mean? Southern Belle says, I'm calling her Dorit Poor Eat from now on because it's true. Well, and again, what Sutton said was true. Don't come at me wearing all of this brand name stuff for next season. Because Jennifer Tilly was kind of taking Dorit's defense in a way. She was like, look, if I've got all this stuff, if life is pushing me down and being crappy to me, I'm going to put my Birkin on. I'm going to put my fancy clothes on. I'm going to get my hair and makeup done. And Sutton was like, but if you don't have the money, you don't do that. And then Jennifer Tilly was like, well, that's what a credit line is for. And I was like, okay, so you agree with faking to pretend like you have money whenever you don't? Like, I'm with Sutton on that. Even Sutton talked about, look, before my divorce, I had this, this, and this. I was on this board and that board, which made me think being on a board must cost money. I almost thought you made money I thought that was like a volunteer thing to be on the board of, the ballet or the board of this foundation or the board of this company. I don't know. It sounded like she had to get off all these boards because she didn't have the money. I was very confused on that. Well, Krista, I don't know if Bravo's doing that. Krista said, I really shame Bravo for teaching women to live on credit, live above their means. I will not blame that on Bravo because I have watched Bravo from day one and it hasn't taught me to live above my means at all. I think if you either live beyond your means or you have to live beyond your means sometimes due to whatever issues, or you just don't. I don't blame Bravo for that. That's like blaming McDonald's for people eating. Like, it's there, you can drive by it. But yes, having a McDonald's 1 mile away from everybody in the world does make it a little bit, you know what I mean? AUS Fly Girl says, I wish Brandy and Julie did more content. They are very minimal, occasional on the road tours, Juicy Scoop once a month, the podcast once a week. Well, I mean, I don't know much about the truth or what kind of perception they're trying to put out there, but they joke about their lack of work ethic. Like, that's very much a part of their theme. You know what I mean? Like, not working hard or, drinking a lot, that kind of thing. So I have no idea if that's just part of their shtick or if that's just not everybody wants to work a lot. Who knows? Debbie says, I usually agree with Sutton, but I don't like Sutton talking about the size of her wallet, though. I'm sorry. I just don't. Unnecessary. I normally don't like a put down for somebody's money situation or somebody being put up on a pedestal because they have more money than somebody else. I don't like that Dorit, and I think this is Sutton's issue with her. I don't like that Dorit is pretending like her marriage is perfect, pretending like she's got all this money, pretending she can afford next season's wardrobes of all the brand names. It's one thing, like, if you already own the stuff, Sutton said, wear your designer stuff. But at some point, you got to be like, Kim Zolciak, you got to start selling that shit on your Instagram lives. You know what I mean? You got to pay the rent. You got to pay the bills someday. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Somebody knows about the fancy stuff. Christina Anderson says a seat on a board might depend on how much money is donated. Oh, that would make sense. Okay. How much you can donate to things. Okay. Anyways, who's rich though? Southern Belle Cell says we finally have rich housewives. I appreciate it instead of fake rich. I'm all for you. I don't like the fake rich at all. I also don't like the fake our marriages are perfect. Like that to me is way more offensive and damaging to women as a whole than the idea that Bravo is encouraging women to live outside of their means and go on credit. Like to me, seeing someone have this amazing marriage and then finding out it was all a scam or a sham for years and yet pretending, that is way worse, because I think as women, we look up to that and we go, oh my gosh, I wish. And then we go, wait a minute. My husband is normal. Like these all, all husbands can be douchebags sometimes. Y'all, I'm married to a great guy. I don't even know why I said that. He was, of course, the very first person that I called after I got off the phone with Susan Powter. And he was so excited for me. He could give a rat's ass about my podcast and all that. He just knew how much I talked about her the other day. And I said, oh my gosh, do you remember this girl from the 90s, Susan Powter? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, she was so good on Jeff Lewis. I was like, I bought the book for the girls. We're going to do a book club. And so when I called him, I was like, guess who just called me? And of course he was like, I don't know who. And I was like, Susan Powter. He's like, wow, that's really cool. So anyways, okay. Yes, I agree. She's one of the ones I'm talking about. Debbie, I've called out Kyle for years on that. Debbie says Kyle pretended her marriage was perfect too with Love Bean. They all lie. She sure did. Oh my gosh. I love a label. I won't even lie. Heather says we just need enough money to be comfortable and provide for our children. Crazy labels have never interested me. Not crazy labels. I don't get into Gucci or Louis Vuitton clothes or the $900 shoes, that kind of thing. But I remember in junior high, I had the Guess jeans, the Jordache jeans, the Guess watch, the Guess denim jumpsuit. That was the mini skirt that was too short for me because I had really long legs in 7th grade and I got in trouble at school for having too short of a skirt. I mean, I've always been into brands. And now it's like Nike, Adidas. So I like a brand within reason. You know what I mean? Like I like Ralph Lauren, but I don't like, what is that brand at Marshall's? It's like, what does it say? I don't know what it says, but the horse is real big. Like I don't buy that for my husband at all. I just like Ralph Lauren. What's the other one? I forget what it's called. Whatever it is, I don't like that. Anyways, okay, let's get into season 11 of 90 Day Fiance. I finally dove deep into it. I'm really liking it. So if you haven't started it, I decided to skip the whole, whatever that one was called, whatever that scene, the whole thing, the season 2 about them going away and trying to work on their marriage. I didn't even watch one of them. I literally deleted the whole thing off my DVR. But I am excited for these couples that are on this season. I do like a 90 Day Fiance that is at its core, where they really do show somebody coming back and they literally have 90 days coming to the airport, and they literally have 90 days from then to start Yeah, but what's the one? Polo is Ralph Lauren, but it says like not Chaz. What's it say on there? Uh, hey man, I'll tell you everything. Dana Maria says, now I know Sarah got in trouble for short skirts and was in handcuffs at 16. Sure was. And yet I'm such a prude as an adult, right? What's the brand that's always at there that they sell Ralph Lauren also, but the Chaps, that's the one. Pootie Cat Chaps. I'm not a Chaps fan. So you will not find me putting that on my husband. I used to put him in Lacoste years ago. God, he probably wore Lacoste 15 years ago. We haven't done Lacoste in a long time. Yes, Lacoste was my generation. Yeah. Okay, so 90 Day Fiance, Jessica and Juan are back, which they've been on before. This is the girl, mom. She's like 30 something. So I guess she's not a girl. She's like 37, or 30 something. No, she's only like 30. She has a 9-year-old, but she's only 30. She's a mental health counselor in like small town Wyoming, and she met a guy named Juan on a cruise who is 27. So very similar ages, but very different lifestyles. Like he was like single, he's not really around kids, but now they have a 5-month-old together. He'll be a stepdad to her other 2 boys that are 9 and 7. It's going to be very interesting. These episodes are 2 hours though. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. We meet our first throuple. Very confused about this couple. Amani, I think is the name. Amini or something. It's pronounced whatever. And then Matt, and then Annie is the girl mom, the third that is coming from Mexico. So Amani and Matt will have to get a legal divorce for one of them, which I would assume it's going to have to be Max. It's going to have to look a little more traditional for the paperwork, right? Male, female, to come over for the K1 visa. They seem very wealthy. She seems very smart. I don't know if they really went into his career, but they met in college, and she is in the tech world, and they showed a really nice house in San Diego. So they're definitely not poor. My thought is, she's got a rockin' body, right? I mean, rockin' body. Very smart. 2 young girls. And yet she still has time for another human being in the bed and in her emotions. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I am exhausted just watching you. Yeah, it's very similar to that. Anne says it sounds like Seeking for Sister Wives. Yeah. I just don't understand how she has that much energy or desire. Like, I mean, I love that she and her, they were role playing together and they were like FaceTiming, but I'm like, when I had 2 kids those ages, I already had 3 or 4, but you just remember kids those ages are exhausting. And by the time you get home, cook dinner, clean up, take them to ballet, you're freaking exhausted. You're happy to watch a movie with your husband at that, much less, have another relationship. So good for them. I do question these. I mean, I've loved reality TV, but the older I'm a mom, I do question why they would put their kids through this, because I think if anything, the 90 Day Fiance couples really have to make any kind of money or to get the fame that they're looking for, which clearly they're not going on these shows for anything else than the fame and the little bit of money that comes from them, right? So they have to be on TikTok lives and Instagram lives a lot to keep their fame up, because if not, there's so dang many couples that will forget about them. I mean, I almost forgot about Jessica because I'm like, who is that? Well, she looks a little different now. She's had the baby. She's gained a little bit of weight, or didn't lose the weight from the baby. She looked different. I almost was like, who is this girl? Then when they showed Juan, I'm like, oh, that's right. They met on the cruise. They've been dating. Sarper and Shekinah are like full-time 90 Day Fiance people. He gets his K1 visa. So now that we'll see the process of him living in the US with her. They don't excite me at all because they both disgust me. I think they're gross. Stevie and Maddie, I'm very interested to learn. See, and I learned from these shows. I didn't know that Iran had such a thing with the US. Like, I didn't even know. Who knew? our countries must hate each other. So when he got approved to come over here, which he does, and he comes on the airplane and they meet at the airport, which is, I love the 9-Day Fiancé airport meetings. I love it when they kiss, when they hug, when they just can't stop staring at each other. I mean, I just love that. I love when they go in the bathroom and take a shower and, spritz up if they've had a long flight. I love it. But Stevie is 37, Maddie is 27, and she has 2 other kids. So that's going to play a role into that. But other than that, I'm really, really hoping for Stevie and Maddie to work out. Then there's Mark, who's 58 with 2 adult kids and a little toddler from his 34-year-old girl or fiance from Paris. She is all about America. Now, I don't know why. I mean, Paris is not like third world country or anything. Like, I don't know what her career is there, but she is all about America. She is like, I'm finally here. It's kind of like, oh, yeah. There's this guy named Mark that I got to spend some time with too. Oh, yeah. And then Mark will give me a second baby. But she is all about America, in my opinion. She is not necessarily about Mark. And, he's not going to live forever. He's about his plane. I don't know that he's going to adjust well to being back into daily fatherhood every day. You know what I mean? I do too. So Deborah says, I love Stevie and Maddie. I mean, they better end up being good, right? Like, I hate when I have such good expectations for them. But you know what? I can always tell from the airport. You can tell from the reunion at the airport if they're going to be good or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen anyone fly or live on a landing strip, like a golf course. You know what I mean? Like crazy. Oh, she hates his house. I haven't seen that part yet. So I do have about 30 more minutes of the second episode to watch because, I wasn't expecting a phone call from Susan Powter today. So that took a little bit of time to chat with her and then call my husband and make a video about it. So, she is pregnant again. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, Heather, and she's announced it. But they shouldn't be putting her down. I mean, she just had a baby. I wasn't putting down Jessica, by the way. I just literally didn't know if she was a new couple or if she was someone I already knew. Once they showed Juan, I realized, oh, this is the same couple from a year or 2 ago. So, yeah. Heather said, lots of criticism for Tiger Lily. I don't think people realize she's pregnant again. Yeah. I mean, anyways, okay. There's also a couple, Joan and Greg. I hope they work out, but he is 30 or 40 living in his home with his mom. Going to bring over a girl who's very successful over in Uganda. So I'm really not sure I wonder why Greg, who seems to have not much going on except being like a part-time plumber for his friends and bake some bread. Did you see him? Okay. So he loves baking bread. And apparently he sells it to people. He didn't even put in a container. Some dude's like working on his car and he like picks up the bread with his hand and gives it to him. Like no container, no Ziploc bag, no foil, nothing. I'm like, dude, it's like working on his car. Like, don't hand him the loaf of bread right there. Why doesn't he go over to Uganda? Like, and make a life? Does he not want to leave his mom? Which I get. I just don't know. Because when she comes over to America, I think until she gets her green card, I don't think she could even work at all. So she like owns a business and has her master's degree or all this stuff over in Uganda. And then she's going to come over here and he's going to have to take care of her. And he doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Doesn't seem like. Anyways, okay. I didn't understand. Somebody let me know. So Mina, the girl that's from Paris that has the little toddler girl, Maria, with the 58-year-old Mark, she also has a 9-year-old son named Clayton. At first they said his passport didn't come in time. Then just don't leave. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but why didn't you get your son's passport? Like, hello? Like, that seems like a priority. You can literally, I mean, at least in the US, you can get a passport in like a week or less if you pay extra for it. But at first it said she was going to have to leave him with a family friend. And I'm like, wow, that's big to like leave your 9-year-old son with a family friend. And I thought, okay, maybe he goes to the dad sometimes, what have you. No mention of a dad, so I have no idea who that is. Then it says she's leaving her son with her sister. And I'm like, well, is it your sister or is it your family friend? Because that's very different. And also, if it's a sister you're not really close with or that doesn't know your son very well, then that's very interesting also. You know what I mean? Yes, I agree. Anne says, I hope she's not another Jasmine. Yeah, for sure. Because she definitely seems into America, right? Not so much into Mark. And then did you hear what she said about, she is beautiful, but she's like, I've had all these men that have come on to me and they've tried to give me this big, beautiful life and, provide for me the rest of my life and the lifestyle that I want. She goes, but they could not give me a child. So that's why she loves Mark, because he gave her a child. I'm like, so his sperm worked with your egg and that's all it took? Like, you know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Heather said, that you love the country that you live in when the thought of living in a different country terrifies you. I mean, maybe. I think people can be terrified of living in another country, but yet not necessarily love the country they're in. I mean, I see that all the time on I Need a Fiance, where they're leaving a country that is, politically in shambles or in war or what have you, but they're still terrified of living in the US just because it's the unknown. You know what I mean? Deborah says on the K-1 visa, they send you your passport, I think, but this is the son. His didn't come in, so she had to leave him. I just don't know. I mean, did she have to leave him because the show was filming and she needed to get her pretty little face on TV? Or because I don't know what would make me leave my 9-year-old son. Just say, like, all the way across the country. You know what I mean? Anyways, I do understand, as much as I don't want to give Sarper any credit, I do respect that he is nervous about leaving his 70-something-year-old parents because he's like, look, I'm the only kid in our culture. We take care of our family as they get older, and now I won't be here. It's a long flight home. So, wait, what? What's going on? What's going on? Christina says, this is a safe place for Sarah. Please stop. I have no idea what's going on, but drama, yes. Did you see Jimmy Buffett's daughter on Watch What Happens Live? I did not. Which episode? I admit I don't watch every episode of Watch What Happens Live anymore. I don't have the time. I watch if I love the guests now. So I will watch Craig's episode with what's her face, but I haven't watched it yet. Maybu says, I never let my kids stay overnight at friends' houses. You never know. We do allow sleepovers, although it's not my favorite thing. I'd rather people be at my house. We do allow it, but to me, it's very different, than leaving them in Paris and coming over to America. Yeah, Louise says Sarper seems to have good parents and it makes me like him more. I mean, I think besides himself, he loves his parents. So he loves himself a whole lot. And then he loves his parents. You know what I mean? Okay, let's chat today's Jeff Lewis Live. We got another brand new guest today. So this is 3 brand new chumps this week. Kelly Dodd and Rick Leventhal were on today. I'm sure Kelly will be like, oh my God, it's Sarah from Texas chatting about me again. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm chatting about you because you were on Jeff Lewis Live, and that's kind of what I do. I don't think they ever explained why Jeff was not in the coffee picture. Was he late? Because the app messed up, I paused the app while I was chatting with Susan Powter, and I was going to come back to it. And then it was all of a sudden, it was back where I was listening to Andy Cohen interview his assistant, which was really good this morning. I want to finish. But anyway, so I had to wait for the video wait for the app to come up. But I don't think they ever explained why he was out, did they? It wasn't that good of an episode. There was nothing new. Kelly and Rick seemed a little irritated, maybe that Jeff couldn't go and meet them out for drinks like they usually do the night before. Jeff said he had a thing. He had to meet up with Carrie Lewis. They had a couple of hours of talk at Tower Bar. Kelly and Rick went to Craig's. I'm sure they hope to get on, a TikTok live or seen by the paparazzi, you know what I mean? But there was just nothing new. They just, Kelly does say she wants to be a commercial real estate broker because she doesn't want to deal with emotional people and she doesn't want to have to work on the weekends. I'm like, okay, I don't know. They just seemed a little off today. Like people have been telling me, because I don't watch their Smash show, but people have been telling me that she has definitely been drinking a lot more and she is also irritated at Rick a lot more. And I've definitely heard that the last 2 or 3 times that she's been on Jeff Lewis Live, like the honeymoon is over. She even talked today about who she wants to date whenever she's in her 70s. And I'm like, and even Rick said, well, I'll be dead by then. And I'm like, well, maybe you won't be. Like, do you want your wife already talking about who she wants to date after, you're dead? Bondi says, Kelly, Dodd, and Rick are the biggest douchebags. I only listened because I was working and I couldn't stop to change to a podcast. I did so on the second hour, though. Did you listen to the second hour? I thought that one was kind of boring, too. What's their podcast name? The Rick and Kelly Show? I don't know if it's a podcast. It's on YouTube. Is that what you mean? Yes. Maybu says, a friend of mine's father-in-law worked in child protection. He said 97% of the time, it's someone known to the child. Rarely random grabs, wouldn't take the chance. Yes, that is, I learned that on the Oprah show. So Oprah years ago interviewed sexual assault people and like how they got in with, molesting kids. And it was often people they knew, the uncle, the best friend, the neighbor next door, people that they had, gained trust from for sure. Not just random strangers, obviously. Wait, what? Stoney says it's only a matter of weeks before Kelly cheats on Rick for sure. Well, they're never apart. Like he would never. Deborah, you think Rick is getting frustrated with Kelly? I never hear that. I still hear maybe not the adoration that he used to have, but I definitely hear the little jabs that she makes about him. You know what I mean? Wait, what? What ingredients? Kay Kelly says the ingredients and owners of the products are questionable. I wish they would have addressed my comment. Are you talking about Rick and Kelly? I have no idea. Anyways, yes, Raquel. Rick is more in love with Kelly than Kelly is of him. For sure. In my educated opinion, yeah. Deja Monet says, I sent you a DM with the most up-to-date info if anyone wants catch Jeff Lewis live audio on YouTube. The most up-to-date info of what? I don't understand what that means. Stoney says they are apart. They were apart for almost a week this month while he worked in what's HB? The place over by New York? Whatever HB is. And she partied in the desert with her girlfriends. Everything is all good with Jolie. Remember, they weren't talking for a while. She didn't say anything about her mom. Does anyone know from the Smash? Is she and her mom back to talking? Or is she Huntington Beach? Oh, he was working in Huntington Beach. No, I was thinking the Hamptons. So I don't know what HB meant for the Hamptons. I just automatically assumed the Hamptons. I thought their house was in Where are they living right now? Are they still in Newport? All I know is she says it's a mile from the beach. I have not seen their house, but I have heard over and over and over and over again them saying that they want Jeff to do their bathrooms for his show. And I'm like, honey, it's the end of February. That show, if there is a show, they said, won't even start filming till the end of 2025. So, she just says she's fine. Okay, so the second hour was Lisa, but it's spelled Liza Treyger, Treyger. She's a comedian. She was on with Jade Catapretta. Could not tell their voices apart. I have said this, and it's not a girl thing. It's when two voices, when either two male voices are similar or two any. I don't give a dang about the gender. Their voices were so similar and they would say things somewhat similar. Like I just couldn't pick out their voices. So that without video, I couldn't understand who was talking. Like, I don't know if it's, oh, am I learning more about Jade, who's been on 5, 6, 7 times, maybe? Or am I learning something about Lisa, who's never been on before? All I know is she has a new Netflix show on Netflix called Night Owl, and that's only like an hour long. She's got lots of Delta trading cards from the pilots, which I never knew that was a thing. I'm like, Doug, does Doug know this? Does Doug have trading cards? Does Doug have Delta pilot trading cards? And he keeps that from Jeff because he knows he'll be made fun of. I'm going to say yes and hell yes. Like he knows he can never share that. But can you imagine like Doug being like, oh my gosh, do you have a trading card? I would love to get your trading card. Ew, that's Stony. That's gross. I'm not even going to read that. Okay. I guess they're both lesbians. Maybe they just talked over each other so much. They sounded the same. All I know is Lisa smokes pot like every single day for the last 15, 12 years. Jay doesn't smoke pot anymore. They both dabble in the female department. They taught us what being a top and a bottom meant, and I never even thought of this. It's not, it's more the strap-on situation, if who's a top or a bottom. So I guess they were saying what that is. And then they were like, some people don't even like penetration. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I always thought of like mouth or hands. I didn't really think of strap-ons. I didn't even know that was a thing. But anyways, you can tell I didn't dabble in college, right? I had a boyfriend from 16 to 25. Did not dabble with the females. Did not dip my toes in the lady pond, as they say. Oh, K Kitty says, Jeff choosing Jade. Who's Karen? Over Justin Martindale is nuts. Oh, you're calling her a Karen for, okay, I get it. Got it. But I didn't get to listen at the end of the show because the app. So I still have about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes of that. I did finally finish the episode of yesterday at the end of Jeff Lewis Live, and it was pretty boring. It wasn't a very good show. As always, you can come on and ask any questions or comments at the very end. Push the link that's down there, the website, whatever. AUS Fly Girl, Doug Buden is the friend, support, kind, informative person we all need. He's on Cameo for video or just a quick email for $2. Excellent, of course. I don't know why I read it like that. Didn't even know what you were going to say. Yes, Southern Belle Cells. Apparently we're talking strap-ons right now. So anyone wants to tell me about tops and bottoms of lesbians? I kind of loved that when they said that, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Like I never even thought about a top or a bottom for a lesbian. And then Jeff was like, wait, can we go back to that? Because I don't even know what you're talking about. And even Shane was like, I don't know. And I was like, good. These two gay guys in West Hollywood have no idea what a lesbian top and bottom are. I'm like, good. I'm not feeling so dorky. Maybo says, I know a really camp guy who tells me a lot of gay guys don't go all the way. It's very common. What's a camp guy? That might be a London term you're using. Camp guy who tells me a lot of gay guys don't go all the way. Well, what's going all the way? Like anal? Or they get blowjobs or hand jobs? I don't know why we're talking about this. Yes, of course I'm following Susan Powter, Stony. You know why? Because she said, text me your Instagram and I'm going to follow you. And I was like, oh shit, well, I better go follow her real quick. So of course I'm following Susan Powter. And she butt dialed me on accident. I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't notice. But she texted me and she was like, oh, I think I butt dialed you. And I'm like, she's like, it was an accident. I'm like, that's okay. She's like, my PR guy's going to reach out to you to book the podcast. So I'm like, like, I'm so excited, y'all. I know y'all didn't know my mom. My mom was amazing, but there's something about it when I thought about it. I'm like, she has 3 adult boys. I have 4 daughters and a son. My mom is gone already. It felt like it was like my mom, like giving me a pat on the back. when she called. I don't know why. I definitely didn't think about her being much like my mom when she was on, but just the fact that she called and like it was just the affirmation I needed to be like, yes, you're worth coming on your podcast is worth coming on. I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. So I don't know. It was very touching. And she said she would answer anything, anything. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get my questions together. Yes, Bon D says Susan Powter has a PR guy. So I didn't ask. She told me his name because she told me he'll be the one getting in touch with me to book the podcast for her. But she trusts him and everything is going great. She said the chumps really came out in their support of her. So yeah. Did I go live last night? Stoney says, did Susan see your live last night where you talked about her? Huh? I didn't go live last night. Did I? No. I was watching 90 Day Fiancé. She might have seen the video. She said she saw a comment, but I don't think she's the biggest techie person on her phone all the time. So, oh, okay. Southern Belle says, please tell me why you got arrested. Okay, real quick, because it's kind of a long story. We're 16. My parents are at the beach house. I don't have a car yet. They didn't surprise me with a car till I was almost 17. So I must have been barely 16. And I didn't have the Corvette yet. I wasn't driving my dad's Corvette, but that was only a 2-seater. And I hated that. I was in my mom's 4-door car. We go, a bunch of friends. We had like, we'd been drinking. I probably wasn't even drinking. I don't even remember, but I know my friend was because she had her mouth wired shut for something. She had a straw to the side, Strawberry Hill and stuff. Anyways, we go to a house about 10 minutes away that was allegedly like haunted. It was kind of there wasn't like house. There was grass all grown up. The house was off the street. It was all boarded up. It was a 2-story. There was one light on in the second story. And there was a bus, an empty school bus in the back of it. So the story was that the kids had died on the bus. There was a car wreck and it was haunted or whatever. So it's one driveway, not even a concrete driveway, like a grass grown up, all this stuff. So I go into the driveway, another car of friends do, and then another car. And we're not breaking in. We're not doing anything. We are literally, I mean, when I tell you, we were like, the preppiest, group of 16-year-olds, what do you call it? Student council. I mean, we were all good kids for sure. Anyways, a man comes running out, shaking a gun. Basically, this guy lived there and he was tired of kids coming to his house on the weekends, bothering him. And I'm like, well, maybe your house shouldn't be boarded up and the grass should be cut. There shouldn't be an empty school bus in the back. But anyways, defending myself. So by the time there was like 6 people in my mom's car, the 2 cars from behind me had to back out. So by the time my friends backed out and we were about to back out, the guy had caught up to us and he's holding this gun at my car. I was driving saying, get out, get out, get out. So it was all girls in my car except for one friend. I'll just say M because he's quite famous now in the Houston area. I'll just say M. And they separated M from us and the girls. And I remember I had mosquitoes all up and down my legs because the grass was so high. And he held a gun on us until the police got there. If I wouldn't have been so smart ass and basically said the guy shouldn't be putting a gun on us, like we're fine, we're not doing anything, we didn't break in, we weren't whatever, but we were on private property, so that was the bad thing. But so they did arrest us. My parents were at the beach house, like I said, with friends. So they, back in the day, my best friend's dad, who recently got diagnosed with cancer, so y'all pray for him and for her, got to release us. So he released me that night. My parents released him into his custody. So I didn't stay overnight or anything, but we did have handcuffs on and I had to go to like anger management class or something like that. And all was well. I think it was dropped from my thing at 17 years old. Yes, and I was pissed. I was mad. Chris is like, "You were held at gunpoint?" Oh my, yeah, all of us were. So the 2 cars behind me, they got out in time. So then they're driving past real slow, like they don't know what to do, right, our friends? Because they know that we got stuck by the guy, like we were the 3rd one to back out from the driveway, so we couldn't get out in time. So anyways, oh, my live yesterday, I thought you meant like a live, like an Instagram. I don't remember what I talk about on my live. So, Sarah, you talked about how you love Susan on your live show yesterday. Don't you remember? But I talked about it the day before, mostly because that's when she was on. Anyways, but yeah, he came out with a gun and I was pissed. I'm like, look, do we look like we're going to do anything? But apparently the law is that we should not have been on private property. So, lesson learned. Lesson learned. It was very scary. Very scary. Yeah, I had to go to an anger I think it was, now I can't ask my mom or dad. They won't remember. Not that I would want to ask them, "Hey mom, remember when I got, arrested at 16?" That was the only time I've ever been arrested since. No other run-ins with the law except maybe a speeding ticket here and there. Yeah, because he was on his property. So definitely in Texas, definitely the late 80s, I guess it would have been. Yeah. I never got arrested again. Exactly. Anyways, so now y'all know how I got arrested at 16. The lovers will love that. Oh my God, I knew she was a terrible person. You've never even been pulled over, Hannah? Wow. Street cred. Oh yeah. Scared straight. Southern Belle says, "Are you sure you don't have a record?" No, I'm sure of it. I mean, I've never had to say, like, on a job that I have a felony, or would that even be a felony? I don't even know what it would have been. I literally wasn't even held overnight. They released me in my best friend's dad's custody. Um, anyways, if I get to see him, because now he lives about 5 hours away, if I get to see him anytime soon, I would love to remind him of that conversation. He'll probably giggle because he's just that kind of guy. Wow, you've never. So Charlie says, "I've been pulled over, but I've never had a speeding ticket or anything, and I'm a grown woman." Oh yeah, I was underage. I was 16 because I remember which car I was driving, my mom's. And it was impounded. Of course, they took my mom's car. It had a bottle of in the back seat. It had a bottle of Strawberry Hill in it. Yep, that was Sarah. Oopsie. And then I started dating the guy from 16 to 25, and I really didn't drink all that time. Like, we just were not big drinkers. Oh, wow. Mayboo says, "I got pulled over because I had a back light out. She said I'd been drinking. It was my Chinese in the back. She apologized." It was my I think you're missing a word, a very important word there. We don't know what it is. It was my Chinese in the back. Oh, a black girl. We owe our parents so many apologies, right? Whereas, was I grounded? I really don't remember. I mean, I'm sure. Y'all are disappointed in me. AUS Fly Girl, the caca we do to our parents. Amen. Anyways, I know I was mad. That's why my mouth, Heather said, "The guy is such a jerk face. He knew that you were just a group of teenagers. What an ass." That's my thought is, didn't take care of your freaking house. Like, it had rumors for forever that it was a haunted house, and it was boarded up. There were no lights. There was one little light in the second story, and we were just walking up to the house, like, I don't know what we thought we were going to do. And he came blaring out from the back, waving a gun. Anyways, you could smell the Chinese, but you're missing a word. Chinese from the rear. Dude, Mayboo, come on. You can't not tell me what this word is, because that doesn't make sense. Maybe you're Chinese food, and she thought you were drunk. Did you miss the word food in there? Because she's talking about the smell of the Chinese food. Okay. But why would they think you were drunk for that? Southern Belle says, "My parents would have beat me." Well, the good news is they had time to cool off because they were at the beach. This is when you left kids for the weekend, right? Me and my brother were home alone for the weekend. I mean, I was 16 and I guess he would have been 18. She means Chinese coming out the back end. Like diarrhea? Wait, what? I'm going to need Maybu to. Wait, what? I know. That was me at 16. Stop reasoning. Excuses, exactly. That was my mom. Just, you were on private property. And I'm like, so what? You're like, he came blaring out with a gun. Anyways, I was pissed. Anyways, trying to fix my TikTok. Okay, it's trying to give me a puzzle to do at the very end to make sure I'm still wanting to be on. Oh, they thought your Chinese food smelled like alcohol? Maybe said it smelled so strong in the car that they thought it was alcohol. I mean, I've had Chinese food in the car and it never smelled like alcohol. Interesting. Okay, well, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining live. Make sure you're following me everywhere at Sarah from Texas Podcast. I will see you tomorrow. Jeff Lewis will be in my state of Texas with his man Ty. And I guess we will, hopefully they'll ask him about, or ask Shana Moakler about, wanting to fight Catch Me Outside girlfriend's mom. Catch Me Outside's mom. You know what I mean? Yes. Oh, yes. I love that. AUS Fly Girl says, oh, the truthful confessions that will come out probably from most of us after the Susan Powter interview. I can't wait to read her book. I really can't. Anyways, I should be a Leo. I don't know what that means. I don't really know what I'm an Aries, whatever. Okay. Bye, y'all. Bye, Instagram. Thanks for joining.